You're traveling along the Raritan River in Branchburg, except there are no roads, vehicles, or electricity. You find yourself 9,000 years before the arrival of the first European settlers. You are part of the Lenni Lenape people. When the Great Pyramids of Egypt were built, the Lenni Lenape Indians had already been settled in what is now known as Branchburg for 2,000 years. This is the story of how Branchburg evolved from an Indian trading post, a European settlement, a Revolutionary War site, and a farming region into a modern community and Manhattan suburb, a hub for industry and corporations, and a community that finds itself wanting to hold on to its rich rural history and legacy while realizing the need for corporate and industrial development and the need to evolve. This is the history of Branchburg. The name Lenni Lenape, which meant original people, was given to this tribe by Native Americans who later settled there. The Raritans, which were a tribe of the Lenni Lenape, settled along the river 9,000 years before the first European settlers arrived. The Lenape Indians were the original New Jersey residents. The Lenape set up trade and hunted and fished in areas such as where today Old York Road crosses into Bradley Gardens. This area offered a point of transportation where the north and south points of the Raritan River flowed together. The Lenape called this place Tukarama-Hacking, which meant meeting place of the waters. The banks of the river where they camped provided a vast place of trade and production of food and tools from Bound Brook to above Neshannock. Large amounts of arrowheads and stone tools have been accumulated in these areas today. The Lenape's main crops were corn, beans, and squash. The Lenape Indians had developed a large trail system across the wilderness of New Jersey. Originally, the trails were only wide enough for travelers to walk in single file, but these trails would eventually establish the routes for European wagon roads, but would not become the paved roads we drive on today until the early 1900s. The Lenape flourished and thrived as a culture and were a powerful tribe. The tide soon took a turn for the Lenape around 1609, when the Dutch, Swedish, and English arrived. These European settlers bought much of the land from the Lenape. Hendrik Corson Vroom and Thomas Holland were Dutch settlers who set up a trading post near the river to trade European goods for furs with the Lenape. They learned the Lenape's language and eventually purchased land from them. The Lenape acknowledged that in New Jersey, land was always purchased, never stolen from the Indians. Captain Andrew Hamilton was a Scottish merchant who negotiated the purchase of Branchburg land using Dutch settlers Vroom and Holland as interpreters. As governor of East Jersey, Hamilton bought what is now modern-day Branchburg from the Lenape beginning in 1685, but he never settled there. By 1705, most of the land was purchased from the Lenape Indians by the lords proprietors of East Jersey, who then sold the land in farm-sized parcels to settlers, mainly Dutch and English. Hi, I'm Spiritual Lamitos, and I'm a member of the Branchburg Township Communications Committee. I'm here with Branchburg Mayor Anna Columbus at Tukarama-Hacking, meeting the meeting place of the waters. Mayor Columbus, what is the significance of this site to the Township of Branchburg, and what does it mean to you as the mayor?
Okay, it's an historic site, Spiros. The Lenni Lenape Indians came here and they settled here, and they were here for many years. They used this as a trading. The boats, they weren't boats, they were canoes, I'm assuming, coming up and down the river. But in addition to that, when I was a young child, I knew nothing about the Lenni Lenapes. I was probably about 5 years old, and my family would come here. We came out from the city and lived in Bradley Gardens, And we would come out here picnicking, and little did I realize what an historic site this is. It was a joy to come here, to actually go in the river. There was nobody here. I would love to know how we founded it, but I guess just by touring the area, we found it. And now I have the privilege of being here and being interviewed at this beautiful site. And we're looking at this water here, and actually it looks very clear. And for some reason, it doesn't look like it's stagnant. I'm looking at the trees in the river. It is just a beautiful sight, and it takes me back to when I was a child and loving this area, and I still love it. I remember when they renovated the bridge. The bridge was sort of a bridge that would crackle when you'd come across it, and little did I know that this was the bridgeway from Bridgewater into Branchburg, which is now, of course, my hometown since 1983.
The Lenni Lenape Indians, plagued and decreased in numbers by diseases brought by the Europeans, eventually migrated from the area and headed north and west into Pennsylvania and Ohio, becoming known as the Delawares. The Lenape left their influence with trails that eventually became roads still in existence. The Manunkachunk branch of the Minisink Trail became part of what we know as Route 22. The Tukaraming Trail from Lambertville to Newark Bay became Old York Road, which was the first official road of Somerset County. The Dutch called it the Road up Brereton. The English knew it as the Great Road or the King's Highway. In a short time, modern-day Branchburg, near the neighborhoods we live in and the roads we travel daily, would be completely inhabited by European settlers and eventually a key site for the American Revolutionary War.